Welcome back, everyone. People like me remember 1970. You know what 1970 is? The first year for Earth Day. A lot of you probably weren't even born by then, but to just let you know, and it was a massive outpouring. People were becoming aware of how important it was to protect our planet. Well, lo and behold, we're poking around, and I got a release from a company right here in Glens Falls called Sustainable PR. And I read about this company and thought, we have to talk to this guy. So joining me today is Tony DeFazio, who's the founder of Sustainable PR. So hello, Tony, how are you?
Good afternoon. Good to see you, and I'm overjoyed to be spending some time with you.
That's great. Now, judging from the poster in the back, this is either going to be about the environment or Pete Townsend. We're going to have to make a choice here, Tony. Hey.
I get a lot of comments on that, and I've actually had the blurred screen effect with all the Zoom calls, but I get such popular response to that poster that I just keep it in the background.
Oh, it's a real iconic poster, you know. So at any rate, sustainable PR. Why?
Yes.
All of a sudden, that's a word we're hearing now much more frequently than we ever did before. Uh, why the focus on sustainability?
Well, twofold, Jesse. It's a great question. One is a business answer, and the other is a passion answer. And I'll go backwards before forwards, and that is my entire life. I've been interested in ecology from the moment I was growing up as a kid. Outside of Philadelphia, we had a stream running behind my house, and that was my ecosystem, a real ecosystem. And I would spend every waking moment as a kid in the creek fishing, learning about aquatic life. It just really fascinated me. And later on, as I got a little older, my parents took me to the Adirondack Mountains, and I instantly fell in love with the Adirondacks, particularly the high peaks. And I've been coming up here every year since, fishing, hiking, and skiing. And those are my three personal passions. And for a long time, I was thinking about how can I create a business idea that can have a positive impact on the environment. And I've been in the public relations business for 30 years. I've worked or led three different marketing communications firms. And about a year and a half ago, I started getting the idea that I wanted to move to the Adirondacks permanently. And I was tossing around a couple ideas in my head, and they kind of just were juggling around in there for a while. But to be honest with you, it wasn't until the pandemic, and I was on a hike with a high school friend of mine in a park outside of Philadelphia, when he basically just challenged me and said, "What are you going to do with the next 10 years of your life?" And there was really kind of an implicit message in there, which was, here we are in this pandemic, and I think everybody's starting to look at life a little differently, perhaps a little less commercially, a little less superficially, and asking big, profound questions. And for me, it was, I want to use the last leg of my career to have a positive impact on the planet and people's lives. So I started doing a little homework, and I dug into the internet, was doing research on the green economy and sustainability. And two things came back at me. One was the marketplace was about ready to explode. So that goes to the business side of the answer. And I saw one study that estimated that the market for sustainability is expected to increase $20 billion between now and 2025. That's hard to get your head around. But when you turn on the TV today, you are inundated with headlines. You're a newsman. You know how this works. From President Biden's infrastructure plan, of which over $1 trillion is dedicated to building green infrastructure and technology to compete globally and reduce the carbon footprint, to entrepreneurs and innovators of every type, whether it's Elon Musk and what he's done with Tesla, to just mom and pop operations, like here in Glens Falls, where sustainable PR is based, you have a number of retailers that have a commitment to organics and sustainability. And so we just think that we're in the right place at the right time with a PR agency that, number one, is focused exclusively. We're not a division. We're focused exclusively on the green marketplace and telling stories about companies and organizations with a mission and sustainability. And two, we're the only agency of our type that has senior talent with decades of experience that we can bring to offer our clients.
You know what? I looked on your website, of course, and I was very impressed with the people that you have. Impressed with you and your resume, but also the people around you. You're right. This is you brought in some real hitters for this. It's been a very interesting voyage. You know, if you go back to 1970, it was almost like, oh, look at what these hippies are doing, and it really is now. To your point, and a point well taken too, by the way, there has to be a return on the investment for this. There has to be, you know, how does this contribute to helping our economy and stuff like that? And those numbers, I just heard a story this morning, Tony, about how the price of solar has gone down something like 87% since the first time. So, you know, these kind of measures. Now, our focus is local. You're here now locally. Give us a sense about what you actually provide for a company. Let's say a company in small business, larger business, wants to make these first steps into the green economy. Are you helping them make that step? How are you helping those make that step? And how are you helping them tell that story?
Sure. I appreciate the question, Jesse. So first of all, we operate in B2B and B2C sectors. So we can serve the needs of clients that are marketing within their industry, providing component parts, for instance. You mentioned solar energy. They might be manufacturing solar panels, which then could be marketed and distributed at retail. And we also serve business to consumer clients as well. For instance, our first client is a company out of downstate in Brooklyn called Soho Waterworks, and they are marketing sustainably sourced fine wooders. So that's a B2C business. Our services include everything from message development to media relations, influencer relations, coalition building, and thought leadership. And Jesse, we wrap all of them with in a bow, so to speak, in a category in marketing communication that's called earned media. As a media man yourself, you know all the manifestations of marketing communications. You've got paid media, which advertising firms center on. You've got owned media, which is content that organizations and businesses create on their own, social media, websites, and so forth, newsletters. And then the third category is earned media, and that's our specialty. We are first and foremost storytellers. So when we meet with clients for the first time, our first job out of the gate is to distill their message, okay? And somewhere along the line, someone once told me that if I have any skill set, that I have a velvet ear. And I think what that means is simply I can hear what the core essence of an organization's story is, and then develop key messaging points around that can become part of a platform of external communication storytelling. And then we have this vast network of contacts, journalists like yourself, bloggers and influencers that we have developed relationships with over many years. And these, in many cases, are personal relationships where they may call upon us looking for sources for their stories. In other cases, we're taking our client's story to a journalist in a proactive fashion and getting them press coverage. Community relations and coalition building also is a facet of sustainable marketing communications, because in many cases, sustainability means how is the business and the organization relating to its local community? Are they giving back? are they taking less than are they leaving as much as they take, for instance, from the community? So those are the scope of services, and the businesses range from in size, startup enterprises that perhaps just got private financing and they're starting to scale, all the way up to enterprise class companies that are just competing and innovating and introducing new products and services on a regular basis.
Well, I've got a couple of things I want to cycle back on there quickly, but just to our audience there, you can tell that he knows what he's talking about because as he was talking, I'm checking off every question I was about to ask you. You covered every base. That's a true media person, my friend. It really is well thought out and also well articulated. Thank you. Hey, what results do you hope to get from this venture?
Well, as I said earlier, Jesse, I view this as the last leg of my career. I got a few gray hairs on my head, and I've been doing this a long time. Had the privilege to have a really rewarding career. But again, the genesis of sustainable PR, what I'm doing now in this latest venture, is number one, to have a positive impact, to leave a legacy that's more than dollars or media placements, or particular client outcomes, but to really feel good that the work we're doing is advancing and supporting the mission of sustainable businesses and organization. From a pure matter of fact business point of view, I hope to scale this enterprise to the point at which it becomes attractive to a larger marketing communications or full service firm that, number one, will see the value in our name, which was very strategic from the beginning. Sustainable PR actually has a double meaning, right? So sustainable, obviously environmental sustainable, but also the notion in public relations, which has always been a knock on the practice, is that you may get a big hit, a big blast when you send out a press release or you hold a special event, but it's very challenging to maintain consistency and to have traction over a period of time that elevates brands. And that's what quite frankly, our track record has been. So sustainable PR in that sense is a double meaning. So to answer your question, build it up, get a nice, rich portfolio of clients, get a quality team together, and then at some point down the road, I very much would look forward to a moment that either it's passed on to an employee, which would make me very happy, or the other alternative is we would build it up and look for an exit down the road.
Yes, right, sure. And of course, all the while, the mission is, let's just say, a lot more important than a lot of other missions I hear about because it has to do with sustaining our planet. In closing, I tend to think to myself, I wouldn't even know what to say to a climate change denier. And trust me, I'm being polite when I phrase it that way. Because all you have to ever do is think about your family. All you ever have to do is think about your children, your grandchildren, and then just do what you said. Take a walk in the woods. Just listen to the birds. Just listen. I'm sorry if that sounds a little too esoteric, but it's not, because this is our planet and we need to protect it. From 1970 on, every Thursday has been every year has been an Earth Day. So
that's right.
Tony, I wish you the best. And please stay in touch with us so we can keep our viewers informed as to developments and people that you're working with and some of the outcomes as well. Okay?
Thank you so much, Jesse. It was a pleasure to be here.
Oh, it was my pleasure, Tony. Great to talk with you. Thanks.